My husband left me because my in-laws convinced him I wasn't good enough since I couldn't have kids. 3 years later, they were stunned to see me with a baby. This is going to be a long one, so buckle up. I never thought I would be writing something like this, but here we are. It still feels surreal, but I need to share this with someone because my emotions are all over the place. A few years ago, I was married to the love of my life, Daniel. We met when we were both in college and fell madly in love. Our relationship was perfect, at least that is what I thought. He was everything I could have hoped for in a partner, caring, supportive, and always there when I needed him. We got married after 3 years of dating, and I thought our lives together would be filled with happiness. What I did not realize at the time was that his parents, especially his mother, never truly liked me. They pretended to be supportive during our courtship, but the moment we got married, everything changed. His mother, who we will call Karen because honestly, she was the epitome of one, started making passive-aggressive comments about when we were going to have kids. At first, I brushed it off. Daniel and I were still young, and we had agreed to wait a couple of years before starting a family. But the pressure from his family became relentless. Every time we visited them, Karen would talk about her friends' grandchildren or how my sister-in-law had given them 2 beautiful grandkids. It was like a constant reminder that I was failing them by not getting pregnant. I felt like my worth as a wife was being measured by my ability to give them grandchildren. After about 2 years of marriage, Daniel and I decided to try for a baby. We were excited, and I thought this would finally make his family happy. But month after month, nothing happened. We went to doctors, specialists, did all the tests, but the results kept coming back inconclusive. There was no medical reason for why we could not conceive. It was just one of those unexplained cases of infertility. This was when things started to change between Daniel and me. He became distant, less affectionate, and more irritable. His family's comments were getting worse too. Karen would say things like, "Maybe you are just not trying hard enough, or have you considered that it might be God's way of telling you something?" I was devastated. Every insensitive remark cut deeper than the last, and I could feel my relationship with Daniel slowly unraveling. One night, after yet another family gathering where his mother hinted that Daniel deserved better, we had the fight that changed everything. He told me he was starting to believe his parents were right, that maybe he did deserve someone who could give him children, someone who could fulfill the life he had always imagined for himself. I was shattered. I begged him to stand by me, to remember the love we had, but he just looked at me with sadness in his eyes and said, "I don't know if I can keep doing this." A few weeks later, Daniel filed for divorce. It was like my whole world fell apart overnight. His family had convinced him that our marriage was worthless because I could not give them a grandchild. And just like that, after 5 years together, I was alone. He moved back in with his parents, and I was left to pick up the pieces of my life. The months that followed were the darkest of my life. I cut off all contact with Daniel and his family because it was just too painful to think about how they had all abandoned me. I moved to a new city, found a new job, and tried to start over. But the pain of losing not just my husband but also the future I had envisioned for us stayed with me. Every baby shower, every pregnancy announcement from friends and family felt like a stab in the heart. Then, about a year after the divorce, something incredible happened. I met a woman named Sarah through a support group for women dealing with infertility. Sarah had recently adopted a little boy, and through her, I learned about the possibility of becoming a mother through adoption. At first, I was hesitant. Adoption had never crossed my mind, especially after everything that had happened with Daniel, but the more I thought about it, the more it felt right. After months of research, paperwork, and emotional ups and downs, I was matched with a little girl, my beautiful daughter, Lily. The moment I held her in my arms, I knew that this was the path I was meant to take. She may not have come into my life the way I had originally planned, but she was mine in every sense of the word. I was finally a mother, and it felt like the missing piece of my heart had been restored. Fast forward 3 years, and I was living my life with Lily in a new city. I was happy, truly happy, for the first time in years. That is, until one fateful day when I unexpectedly ran into Daniel and his parents at a mutual friend's wedding. I had no idea they would be there, but fate has a funny way of throwing curveballs when you least expect it. I was holding Lily when I saw them. The look on Daniel's face when he saw me with a baby girl was priceless. He looked like he had seen a ghost. His mother's jaw practically hit the floor. They came over, and Karen of course immediately started asking questions. "Whose baby is this?" she asked, eyeing Lily suspiciously. "This is my daughter," I replied calmly, feeling a strange sense of power in that moment. Daniel looked shocked. You had a baby?" "No," I said, locking eyes with him. "I adopted her." Karen's face turned red. "Adopted?" she spat out, as if the word itself was offensive. "But why didn't you?" "Because your son left me before we had the chance to consider all our options," I interrupted. "You all decided that I wasn't good enough because I couldn't give you a biological grandchild. So, I built my own life without you." The silence that followed was deafening. Daniel looked like he was about to say something, but I didn't give him the chance. I walked away, holding Lily close to me, feeling stronger than I had in years. And you know what? I don't regret a thing. They made their choice, and I made mine. I found happiness without them. Now, they have to live with the consequences.